#1 recruit in Arch yesterday. Of course, he's the nephew of Eli and Peyton Manning.
Look, I think he went to Texas for one reason. I think Steve Sarkisian. Watching film like he's a third or fourth year college guy.
I agree.
You guys need to know, I usually don't like putting a lot of stock into player debuts in games that are relatively irrelevant. In this particular instance, I felt like it was worth mentioning because I want to start following this young man as soon as I can. And we have been making content on Arch Manning every single time we had the opportunity to. So before we get to the content, make sure you drop a like, subscribe, and turn on our notifications to help the channel grow. By the way, we made a brand new Snapchat account. Yeah, I know, I was getting memed mercilessly for having a Snapchat account called Monster Meat Mike. We officially rebranded to Flight Mike Snap, and if you haven't followed it before, it's a new Snapchat, so go ahead and follow it now. Now that we got all that out of the way, work! The NFL and NBA season are officially over, and I need something to hold me over until at least the NFL season comes back. So I've been playing prize picks for the WNBA and the MLB, and I've been fairly successful. It's a good way to get some extra action on games that I wouldn't really watch otherwise. I post my picks onto my Instagram story daily, and I've been hitting on a decent amount of them. And right now, when you use my promo code Mikerophone, they'll double your deposit up to $100. Mic check 1 2 1 2. What's going on, everybody? Arch Manning is one of the most exciting prospects that we have an opportunity to overhype over the next couple of years. He's supposed to be the next Trevor Lawrence-like football player. The reason why I'm saying the next Trevor Lawrence and not like the next Patrick Mahomes is, well, coming out of Texas Tech University, Patrick Mahomes wasn't that overhyped. He was a late riser in draft boards, and the Kansas City Chiefs kind of shocked the world when they traded up for him. He was like the secret of the 2017 NFL draft, but Arch Manning's a different story. If you don't know who Arch is, he obviously comes from the Manning family, which would make this the third generation of Mannings to play in the NFL. The oldest Manning, Archie Manning, doesn't necessarily have the most prolific stat sheet, which will result in some people thinking,
oh my god, Archie Manning sucks.
To give you an idea, during the time where Archie Manning played, the NFL was significantly different, and he was credited for being one of the first scrambling QBs in the NFL. But if you look at his statistics, yes, he has a TD to interception ratio of 125 to 173, a completion percentage of 55%, a passer rating of 67.1. He's made it to the Pro Bowl twice, and throughout the entirety of his career, he played on failing teams. I mean, he's only had one season where his team went 500, and as a result of this, his trauma from the NFL would carry on to his sons. I'll tell you how in a sec. Obviously, we know about Peyton Manning, drafted by the Indianapolis Colts, first overall pick in the 1998 NFL Draft, one of the most prolific passers in NFL history, won 2 Super Bowls, 5 MVPs. When the Indianapolis Colts decided to move on from him so they could ruin Andrew Luck's career, which we have a video on that, he came back with a vengeance for the Denver Broncos in 2012 and won Comeback Player of the Year, and is widely considered to be the greatest #1 overall pick in NFL history. Then, of course, you have Eli Manning, his brother. Not nearly as prolific of a statistical career as his brother Peyton, but he also has 2 Super Bowls, and his Super Bowls were incredible versus Tom Brady and the New England Patriots. He's known as a certified Tom Brady killer, and he's also known for the fact that his father made sure that the San Diego Chargers didn't draft him because his father had trauma about playing for bad organizations, and he didn't want Eli's career to get sabotaged by the San Diego Chargers, who back then were kind of perceived as the Cleveland Browns of their era, in the sense where people thought that the front office had no idea what they were doing. I could understand why Archie Manning did that. This brings us to the current Manning, Arch Manning. He is currently the oldest son of Cooper Manning, which is the Manning that didn't end up playing in the NFL due to spinal stenosis. So he's probably going to live vicariously through his son, Arch Manning. Now, obviously, when you're the third generation of Manning and you're playing quarterback, you're going to get a ton of media attention. So much so that Arch didn't have the opportunity to have media interviews. He declined premature college scholarship offers. His account on Instagram was private because they knew the attention was going to come to him eventually. And when he committed committed to Texas in June of last year, that attention definitely started to come. Now, the number one critic about Arch is when he was at Isidore Newman High School. He put up prolific passing numbers. You're talking about a man that threw for 115 touchdowns and 19 interceptions throughout 4 seasons of playing quarterback. But his number one critique was the fact that,
Hey, look, his competition wasn't that crazy.
and when he committed to Texas football, a lot of people thought that he was going to potentially start over Quinn Ewers a year ago, and that couldn't be furthest from the truth. You see, in spring, we finally had an opportunity to look at Arch Manning in a college football setting, and a lot of people were memeing him for being disappointing. I mean, I guess I'm kind of used to this currently because on the Flight Mike basketball channel, we just covered Victor Wembanyama and his summer league debut, so it's kind of similar to this, although Arch's hype isn't nearly what Victor's hype is currently, but this would be something similar. Arch Manning comes in, Texas fans get really excited, but he's only able to complete 5 of his passes out of 13 attempts for 30 passing yards in that game. Immediately, everyone was like,
Oh my god, Arch Manning's a bust! We're looking at the next Spencer Rattler!
I personally thought this was really funny because I can't necessarily judge a player that quite literally turned 18 years old 3 months ago. And Steve Sarkisian, his head coach at the time, said, I felt like I need to remind everyone on our spring game that the guy should have been at the senior car wash raising money for prom or something. He should have still been in high school at that game. It was an invaluable experience for him to be with us and to get a lot of that newness out. He's a normal guy with us, and he's a normal guy for himself and in and around the building. But for everybody else, when you carry the name, it comes with those expectations. So I think for him to realize how to balance those types of things, in the end, he's on a great trajectory for us. Arch is currently expected to redshirt this season, so by the time Quinn Ewers goes into the NFL in a loaded NFL draft class, I can't wait for the 2024 NFL draft, Arch will be ready in the wings, set to take over. But he even had Arch and explaining how difficult it is to be Arch Manning. Check it out.
Being at Texas now and coming from a small school, he said it was definitely a little bit of an adjustment coming from a 2A private school to the University of Texas, but I've enjoyed it so far. It's been great experience. Everyone has been super welcoming. There's definitely some days where you think you belong and some days where you're like, wow, this is pretty tough. So you kind of have to stick to the process and try and get better each day.
But all in all, I have to admit the potential's there. Recently, a picture of Arch Manning has gone viral because the entire Texas Longhorns quarterback room decided to take a picture with one another. And man, this QB room looks absolutely jacked. By the way, Quinn Ewers, I know you're cheating. Holding dumbbells to try to make your biceps look bigger? Come on, bro. I know what you're doing. I know what you're trying to do here. Jokes aside, Arch looks amazing. I mean, when you compare Arch's physique, for instance, to, I don't know, Peyton Manning or Eli Manning, this is insane. Obviously, there's a huge age gap, but I don't think Peyton Manning ever looked like Arch Manning at any point because that wasn't necessarily the trend when Peyton Manning was playing quarterback. Regardless, I'm really excited to watch this young man develop. I really think if he keeps his head down and really focuses on football, which it looks like he is, he could have a great career. And I know we're a year out from actually watching this young man officially start, but I wanted to get started immediately following his career, following every little detail about this young man. So let me know in the comment section down below, are you worried about Arch Manning's unimpressive spring game debut? Do you think he'll live up to the hype? I'd like to hear what you have to say. Aside from that, I'm your boy Mike, and I'm dropping our mic until our next upload.